guys be quiet.
How about you guys scoot where you can see them as they present, okay?
You know, okay, so here's what's happening right now. So, you might remember me publishing an announcement, this has been over a month ago, about a application writing contest that the United States Congress was sponsoring. And so the way they do that is they divide the country up into districts. And so kind of you have a bunch of teams that compete per district, and then the winner of that district will move on, blah, 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 okay? So this was all on their own time, okay? They weren't working this as part of a class project, and so it's not like they had infinite time to do everything, right? But they're gonna show us where they're at, and again, they're practicing for a presentation to the judges on Tuesday night next week. And so we want to give them our attention and, again, listen so that you can ask some intelligent questions to help them practice fielding some questions. Got it? All righty. You all got the floor.
All right. My name's Luis.
I'm Nora.
I'm Colton.
I'm Lyle.
This is Bulletin.
So Bulletin was, we designed this app to try and match our scheduling needs. Working on multiple TSA projects, we realized that our schedules conflicted quite a bit. And so we wanted to design an app that would be able to find those, find where our schedules conflict and propose a time and date where we could meet up to work on something together. Currently, Bulletin is in its early stages and it's just a scheduling app, but we plan on implementing features that will help to align schedules in the future. So just at a click of a button, you'll be able to match your schedule with with your friends, and find a date and time that works for you. Or for if you're using it, working with a group, finds a date that works for all of them.
Bulletin is a calendar/planner app meant for personal and professional use. It's designed to mimic the style of a college or workplace bulletin board. Like a public bulletin board, Bulletin is an app where you can publicly post events for people to join, as well as private events to post on your friends or people who are invited to the events, bulletin boards. As demonstrated in the video now, there is an event being created where start date and end date are entered, as well as start and end time. The description can then be entered, as well as the invitees, people who are going to be invited to the event. In this case, it's a private event, which means that only the people in the invitees list can be invited. As shown as we go to the home and log in using the test account, you can see that the none event is displayed, along with people invited, as well as opening the friends list and removing the additionally added friend.
So the demonstration that we showed was the ability to create events and invite them. Currently, that's what we have set up, is that you can create events, invite people to them, create accounts and such, so that everyone can be added. We also have a friends list made, but in the future, what we're planning on working towards is making the groups that you can share events with, chat with them in, stuff like that, and then you're gonna have a option to actually accept or decline going to those events, and if you accept or decline, it'll automatically add it to your schedule or just remove it from your bulletin board and tell the poster that you're not going to be attending. And then additionally, later on, we're going to add in the functionality to align your schedules with other people. So if there's a schedule or an event that you're creating and it doesn't align with someone's schedule, it just will tell you that while you try to add them onto the event and invite them. It'll tell you that that person's busy that day. You can't really invite them to that. Or if you create an event and you have someone else's event on that same time that's on your bulletin, if you try to accept it, it'll tell you that you can't join it because your schedule is currently filled up at that time.
So, ever since around mid-2000s, there's been a general design trend towards minimalism, and we decided that it would be better to kind of harken back to the maximalism era with apps like MySpace, with all sorts of customization. So we decided to design our app based off of a college bulletin board, because of how hectic a bulletin board usually is, with all sorts of papers trying to get as much space as they can so that you see them. We also wanted to make it look like a bulletin board, because a bulletin board, in going up and pinning a piece of paper to it or ripping a sheet off for guitar lessons and whatnot, has a sort of inherent social value to it that you don't really see all too often in modern social media.
Alright, the way we're mainly accomplishing this is through a central server that takes input from the mobile side, which we'll be implementing later, and the website. All this is just kind of combined into one central database file, and essentially just kind of called through from an API that I've made. So far, it's been probably one of the most complex servers that I've worked on, at least, and the project's branched off into a lot more than I we expected. But yeah, that's so far about it. That's Bulletin.
Thank you.
Any questions?
We now entertain, there we go. Yes.
So, what's the timetable of this like roadmap of like, you know, improving on Bulletin?
Hopefully we'll have at least, I'd say, half or more of the features that we talked about set up by the time we present this to the congressional judges, which is by next Tuesday, so
Yeah.
a lot to do in that time frame. But this is also what we're going to be doing for TSA, so hopefully we can have most, if not all of this, and maybe more done by then, because we have 8 months till TSA state.
Well,
No. Yeah.
That's irrelevant to this, yeah.
Yeah, point is
124 days.
that. Point is, we're hoping to have all of what we've previously stated finished, and if we have time, possibly more.
Nice.
Actually,
let's breathe.
So how exactly would you guys with like creating an account work? Like what things would you request from the users within it?
they're all listed
Just,
up on here.
yeah, just email,
Username and password.
Yep, and then
I was wondering if you guys would like include like any things like display names or phone numbers or anything?
This display name will just be your username, and if we need to contact you, we can just
Send an
send an
email.
email.
yeah, and for phone number, like you're asking, that could be something we add later. Right now, it's just since most of the time, if you're going to intertwine your calendars, it's either mostly business, so emails work just fine. But phone numbers is probably something we should look into.
Or at least for some purpose, yeah.
So how is this different than like the Microsoft Calendar and Google Calendar?
So, as it stands, currently not much is different, and it is lacking some of the features, many of the features that those programs offer. But what we're offering in the future is this automatic. It's going to be suggesting dates, and it's going to be checking your already existing calendars to find when you can work together. Whereas I don't believe that any of those calendar services currently offer something that will give you will schedule around your conflicts.
So would this connect with like my current calendar and then like be put into this, so then it has my schedule on here?
As of right now, no, but that's
We
also
have. I've been researching connecting using the Google Calendar API, so that we can all the events that you currently have in your Google Calendar, we can then use to merge and check for conflicts.
yeah. As it stands, though, that'll be kind of like one of the later features, because that's a lot of work on the back on the server side. So yeah.
Would you guys possibly like have like kind of multiple calendars, like a personal your calendar and then like a group calendar where you put like schedules you have and stuff, and like it'd be hard to so you tell who's who?
That is a plan. We are adding groups so that you can make group events that everyone would be invited to, and it would tell you calendar conflicts. Your own personal calendar, it won't necessarily show every detail. You would have to set an event to be visible for other people, for them to be able to go onto your account and see that. But inherently, you'll be able to see what time blocks everyone's open and what time blocks everybody's busy. And then if they have you set as a viewer, then you can see specifically what those events are.
Okay.
You also have, you also be able to choose to specifically show it to friends and such. You can also, eventually we'll have it set to be public, but that's something.
So the end result, if I'm understanding, is like, I wanna go to lunch with my lunch bunch friends, there's 8 of us. We say we wanna go to lunch this week, and then this app would look at all of our schedules and say, you all can meet for lunch on Thursday at 4 and Wednesday at 2.
Yes,
Those are the
exactly.
dates that every one of you has available.
That is that is the main feature that is like kind of what we're going for.
You have like
That
all
would
the
be
other
fantastic.
unavailable dates grayed out or such.
So, you can,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, there's already some calendar apps out there. What makes this so unique?
Well, we kind of already talked about it. It's that functionality to automatically look for where the merge conflicts are, and more specifically where they aren't, so that you can see automatically where you can meet up with lunch with friends or whatnot. Whereas other calendars really just kind of sit there and show you when your events are for your individual calendar.
Very much.
Other than basing your UI off of the bulletin board, do you have any other future potential features that would push the maximalist ideal?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What'd you say?
That would push the maximalist ideal.
We've entertained, we haven't decided if this would be a solid feature yet, but we've at least entertained the idea of possibly adding a public bulletin board that's synced across the entire world and would have events that were public on it that you could filter with like certain states or countries or regions, and you could find public events and just rip a slip off like it's guitar lessons at an actual bulletin board. So there's that.
When you view your calendar, is it gonna be like, is it just be like, I guess it's gonna be laid out like a whole bunch of things like tacked onto a bulletin board, or is it gonna just be like normal calendar view, or is it gonna be both?
It'll be a bit of both. I mean, we'll have a grid for like calendar days and such, and then we'll have events pinned on them, and such. But yeah, so far, yeah, that's it.
The calendar itself, when you view it, if you go to the portion, it's not fully complete yet, but it would actually be more like a planner. Have you ever used a planner before? It would look more like that, where you could switch between, on the side you would have the options to flip between the day schedule, month schedule, weekly schedule, yearly schedule, stuff like that. You'd be able to switch between all those options, and it would show you a calendar based on those different things.
Now, I just think this is important to note. The mobile version is much less of this maximalist ideal, just because you're dealing with a mobile device, and we want this to be as user-friendly as possible. So on the mobile side, it's a different design, but it is same features. Just looks like, it doesn't look quite the same.
A little more simple because
A
you
little more
don't have
simple.
a mouse on your phone.
So is this like an application, like download app or like a website?
It will be both.
Okay. So if it's an app, is it like going it work like offline? If I just want to like check my events,
You'll be able to, you'll be able to check your events offline, and if there's any events that you've synced with other people that you're a part of, you'll be able to see those, but obviously if you're offline, you won't be able to then sync with anyone until you're back online. Yeah.
You can make edits offline, and when you complete with them, they will resync online and be uploaded with the changes and such.
when is the estimated time of release, and will it cost how much?
That's a good question because it would be hard to add ads to an already maximalist
Yeah.
style. So
Initially, it won't cost any money or have ads because
we don't know how it's gonna
high
do.
schoolers, but those are long-term ideas, not short-term.
You can always make a donation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can always.
Just make like, I'll give you 1 penny.
Oh, thanks,
We
Brian.
appreciate it. That'll
Sharks,
run the server
you're
for
at
Can we-
less than
$20
a
million
second.
for 2% of our project.
I'll
do $5 for 100%.
I'm willing to put down $15,000.
Alright, let's pull it back in.
This has become Shark Tank, I see. Any other questions?
Bree?
Kind of final one, but would there be like a chat tool, like a little chat function for like to talk about scheduling?
We are looking into doing that.
Yes, that is,
That,
again, not high up on our priorities list, but that is up there.
Yes.
Okay.
So, so you said that you guys are using APIs. So, are there any latencies coming or problems?
So, okay, we're using a custom API, which I've made, and then we're gonna be using one from most likely Google, to retrieve calendar lists, again, that's a later goal, but, right now the one we have is the one that I've made, and it's, I mean, so far we haven't had any latency problems, but that's also just because, for one, the database is fairly small right now, just because we're testing it. There's not hundreds or thousands of users going onto it, but also because, I mean, for one, it would be a little bit expensive to constantly test it on a hosted computer, so I don't have to port forward line, because that's kind of a security risk, but, so we haven't necessarily tested it outside of a local network. That's something we'll do, but the latency shouldn't be that high, considering that the only thing that's really being sent is maybe a sentence or two at most. So when it comes to the load that the server's gonna be handling, that might affect latency a bit later, but when it comes to just pure latency, like, back and forth, if it's just one or, like, so far, if it's just based on communication on one or two clients, it shouldn't be any issue.
All right, guys, good job. Alrighty, so, now we're gonna break and we've got about an half hour-ish to work on ESA. Okay?